The African Deep Dive podcast is brought to you by the African Technology Policy Studies Network. This podcast explores how science, technology, and innovation can drive sustainable development and global inclusion in Africa.
Right, so you send over a whole bunch of reports about AI and African agriculture, and I gotta say, I'm really impressed.
I know, right?
This is not just like theory. We're talking about real-world stuff here.
Absolutely.
How tech is tackling crop yields, pests, market access, even climate change.
Yeah. It's a fascinating shift, I think. We're kind of past the what-if stage with AI now.
Right.
And we're into the look what's happening stage.
Yeah.
And these reports from the African Technology Policy Studies Network really showcase some impactful projects that are already making a difference.
Yeah, we've got 5 of them.
We do.
And they're packed with details.
Oh, yeah. Tons of details.
So let's just jump right in.
Okay.
The first one focuses on AI and irrigation in Malawi. Now, we hear a lot about water scarcity.
Right.
But this is not just another doom and gloom story.
Definitely not.
This report highlights a project where AI is being used to fine-tune how much and how often farmers irrigate.
Interesting.
The result.
Yeah.
Significant savings.
Okay.
In time, labor, and water.
Wow. That's fantastic.
Okay, so break that down for me.
Sure.
Are we talking about like robots with tiny watering cans?
No, nothing like that.
Okay.
It's more like a network of sensors.
Okay.
And a smart system that analyzes the data.
Right.
You can think of it like a really precise data-driven gardener.
Yeah.
So it figures out exactly how much water each crop needs at the exact right time.
Okay.
Which avoids that overwatering that happens with traditional methods.
So what happens to all the resources that they're saving? Does it just sit there?
Oh, no, not at all.
Okay.
The time and labor saved can be put to other uses.
Like what?
Well, maybe diversifying crops or improving how they handle the harvest.
Clever. What about the water they're saving?
Yeah, that's a key point.
Sure.
And this is where I think the social impact gets really interesting.
Okay.
The report talks about how farmers are sharing that saved water with others in the community.
Really?
Yeah.
So they're not like hoarding it?
No.
Wow.
And, it reduces that conflict over resources.
Wait, really?
Yeah.
AI is a peacemaker now.
Well, I mean, it's more about making sure that everyone gets their fair share.
Okay.
Right. When water is scarce, things can get a little tense.
Yeah.
Between farmers who rely on the same sources.
Sure.
This system kind of helps smooth things over. Promotes cooperation.
Yeah.
Which benefits everybody.
That's a side of tech I had not considered.
It's pretty cool.
Yeah. So moving on from making friends to forecasting the weather.
Right.
Our next report takes us to Kenya. Tell me about these community-powered weather networks.
Right. So these networks rely on these low-cost mini weather stations.
Okay.
Like smaller than a birdhouse.
Really?
Yeah, they're tiny.
Wow.
Scattered across the country.
Okay.
And they use the Internet of Things and AI to gather hyper-localized weather data.
Right.
Which then helps farmers make smarter choices
Okay.
about when to plant and harvest.
This sounds like a game changer.
It is.
Especially for like those in remote areas.
Absolutely.
Where it's hard to get reliable forecasts.
Yeah.
How do they make sure these tiny weather stations actually work for the farmers, though?
Right.
Like it's not a one-size-fits-all, right?
You're absolutely right.
Yeah.
And that's why the project involved the farmers in the design and rollout of these mini stations.
Okay.
That way, the tech is tailored to their specific needs.
Right.
And they trust the information they're getting.
It's like turning the farmers into citizen scientists.
I love that, yeah.
I love it.
Yeah.
But hold on. Not every farmer has a smartphone to check this data.
Yeah. How do they reach those folks?
Exactly.
Well, the report highlights this really cool model called weather champions.
Okay.
So they train people in the community to become these champions who then pass on that weather info to those who might not have smartphones.
That's cool.
It's like a neighborhood watch, but for weather.
I like that.
Yeah.
Okay. So we're not just like dropping tech on people.
Not all.
We're building this whole support system around it.
Exactly. Yeah.
I'm starting to see a pattern here. But let's shift gears a bit.
Okay.
And talk about something a little less friendly.
Oh, okay.
Pests.
All right.
Our next report, also from Kenya, is all about an early warning system to help farmers get ahead of outbreaks.
Yeah, this one focuses on a tool called PMOST.
PMOST, okay.
Yeah, and it's designed to predict outbreaks of this tomato leaf miner.
Okay.
Which is this nasty little pest that can just wipe out a farmer's entire tomato crop.
Oh, I can only imagine the impact that has.
It's devastating.
On people's livelihoods.
Yeah.
Tomatoes are essential.
Absolutely.
In so many parts of Africa.
Yeah.
So how does this PMOS thing work?
Okay, so...
Does it send out like an alert on their phones? Like, warning, incoming pests?
It's a bit more sophisticated than that.
Okay.
It uses satellite data on land surface temperatures to figure out where the pests are likely to thrive.
Okay.
You see certain pests prefer specific temperature ranges.
Right.
So PMOS can spot those temperature anomalies and give farmers a heads up about potential outbreaks.
It's like having a pest detecting satellite watching over your crops.
That's a great way to put it.
That's incredible.
That is pretty cool.
And I like that it's mobile friendly.
Yeah.
So farmers can access the information easily.
Absolutely. Accessibility was really key in the design. They also made sure to involve farmers and agricultural experts throughout the whole development process to make sure the tool is actually relevant and effective.
Okay, let's keep this momentum going.
Okay.
Next up, we've got AI being used for sustainable pepper production in Nigeria, specifically the Nasuka yellow pepper.
Yeah, that's a good one.
What's the story here?
Well, this one is really fascinating.
Okay.
Because it tackles a whole bunch of challenges at once.
Like what?
We're talking pest detection,
okay,
soil monitoring, irrigation, even market access.
Wow, okay.
All being addressed with these AI tools.
It's like they're throwing the whole tech toolbox at it.
They kind of are, yeah.
What jumped out at you as particularly innovative?
Well, one of the most striking aspects, I think, is the focus on empowering rural women farmers.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
These AI solutions are designed to directly benefit them, helping to increase their productivity, manage resources more efficiently, and gain greater control over their income.
I love that.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
You know, we talk a lot about tech and gender equality.
I do.
And this is a real example of how it can work.
Exactly. And it goes beyond simply giving women access to the tech.
Okay.
The report emphasizes the importance of gender-sensitive training to make sure that they can fully benefit from these tools.
It's about creating an environment where everyone has the opportunity to succeed.
Yeah.
And tech is a part of that.
Absolutely.
Okay. Let's talk about our final report
for
this part of our deep dive.
All right.
It focuses on digital literacy for farmers in Ghana. And it's something we've kind of touched on before.
Yeah.
But what happens if people can't actually use these amazing tools?
This report hits the nail on the head.
Yeah.
Low digital skills can be a huge barrier to adopting these AI-powered tools.
Like having the fanciest tractor in the world, but not knowing how to drive it. What's the situation in Ghana?
Well, smartphone ownership is actually quite high among farmers there. But many are primarily using them for basic stuff like calls.
Really?
Yeah.
So they haven't unlocked the potential?
Not really.
For like agricultural applications.
It's like having a smartphone and just using it as a paperweight.
Right.
There's so much more it can do.
So how do we bridge this digital literacy gap?
That's the big question. Yeah. They're advocating for programs that specifically target rural farmers with a special focus on women and disabled farmers. The idea is to ensure that everyone has the opportunity to benefit from these advancements, not just those who are already tech savvy.
It's about leveling the playing field.
Yeah.
And making sure no one gets left behind in this new digital world.
That's right. It's essential for modern agriculture. It's like learning to read and write for the digital age.
We've covered a lot of ground already.
We have.
And there's still so much more to uncover.
I know, right?
But we'll take a quick break here.
Okay.
And come back with more fascinating insights
Sounds good.
from these reports.
Looking forward to it.
Stick with us.
You're listening to the African Deep Dive podcast. We'd love to hear from you. Share your thoughts, suggestions, and comments with us via our social media handles or email. Thank you for tuning in, and stay with us for more insightful conversations.
It's really encouraging to see these technologies being designed with sustainability and equity in mind.
It's a great point.
Yeah.
And speaking of fairness, our next report digs into how AI can help ensure farmers get a fair price for their products.
Okay.
It focuses on Nusuka yellow pepper farmer in Nigeria, who often get kind of the short end of the stick when it comes to market access.
Yeah, the report talks about how AI can level the playing field by giving farmers access to real-time market information.
So like instead of relying on word of mouth?
Exactly.
Or like outdated prices?
Yeah, imagine being able to connect directly with buyers and cut out those middlemen who often take a big chunk of the profits.
It's like going from a local farmer's market to a global trading platform.
Exactly.
All from your phone.
Right, your pocket.
That's empowerment.
It is.
In action.
Yeah.
But I have to ask, are we being realistic here?
Okay.
Can the average farmer in Nigeria, often working in rural areas with limited resources, actually access and use these AI tools?
Yeah, that's a really valid question.
Yep.
And the report doesn't shy away from those challenges.
Okay.
It really emphasizes the need for investment in training, infrastructure, partnerships to make these technologies available to all farmers, no matter their location or resources.
So it's not just about building the tech.
Right.
It's about building like the ecosystem around it.
The whole ecosystem, exactly.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
You know, we often hear concerns about AI replacing jobs.
Yeah.
Especially in agriculture. Is that something that this report addresses?
It does. It does. And it paints, I think, a more nuanced picture. While AI can automate some tasks, it also opens up new opportunities.
Like what?
In areas like data analysis, tech maintenance, even agricultural entrepreneurship.
So it's not necessarily about taking jobs, but changing the nature of those jobs.
And maybe even creating better paying ones. It's about moving beyond this idea that agriculture is a low-skill sector and recognizing its potential to be a real driver of innovation and economic growth.
It's like a ripple effect of positive change.
That's a great way to put it.
But you know, one thing that really stands out to me across all these reports is the emphasis on community involvement.
I agree.
It's not just about handing over a fancy piece of tech. And saying, good luck.
Exactly.
You're on your own.
One of the most encouraging takeaways, I think, from these reports is this understanding that technology is most effective when it's developed and implemented in collaboration with the communities it's intended to serve.
Like we see that with those community-powered weather networks.
Absolutely.
In Kenya.
Yeah.
The inclusive development process for the PMOS pest control tool, and the focus on training and capacity building in Ghana.
Yeah, it's all about working together.
It's like a recipe for success, right? You blend cutting-edge innovation with the wisdom and experience of those who know the land best.
That's right, the farmers themselves.
And the results are pretty impressive.
They are.
Increased yields, better livelihoods, and a more sustainable and resilient agricultural sector.
It's a win-win.
Before we wrap up this section,
I
want to circle back to that report on AI and irrigation in Malawi.
Yeah.
It wasn't just about saving water, right?
No, you're right.
There was a peace-building aspect to it as well.
Yeah, and that highlights something I think we often overlook. It's the power of technology to promote peace and social cohesion. In places where water scarcity leads to conflict, these AI-powered irrigation systems can really help to diffuse tensions and encourage cooperation.
It's a reminder that technology can be a force for good.
Absolutely.
On multiple levels, not just economic. But social as well.
Yeah, it speaks to the ingenuity and the vision of African researchers and innovators who were developing these technologies with a focus on sustainability, equity, and social impact.
We've covered a lot of ground in this section.
We have.
But there's still some important aspects we need to address. Like the potential downsides and challenges of integrating AI into agriculture.
Yeah, the other side of the coin.
We'll delve into those right after a short break. Stay tuned.
You're listening to the African Deep Dive podcast. We'd love to hear from you. Share your thoughts, suggestions, and comments with us via our social media handles or email. Thank you for tuning in, and stay with us for more insightful conversations.
Welcome back. We've been exploring all this incredible work you've done with AI in African agriculture.
It is pretty exciting. And it's pretty exciting stuff, but like with any powerful tool, we have to talk about the potential downsides as well.
Absolutely. While the potential benefits are enormous, we can't just blindly adopt these technologies without considering the potential risks and challenges.
Right. It's about finding that balance.
Finding that balance, yeah.
Exactly. And one thing that always comes up with AI is data privacy.
Yeah.
These systems rely on a ton of data.
Right.
About farmers, their land, their crops. How do we make sure all that information is handled responsibly and ethically?
That's a critical point, and it really highlights the need, I think, for robust data governance frameworks.
Okay.
We need clear regulations and guidelines in place to protect farmers' data rights, ensure transparency in how that data is being used, and prevent any kind of misuse or exploitation.
That's about building trust.
It's about building trust, absolutely.
And beyond privacy.
Yeah.
There is also the issue of potential bias in these systems.
Absolutely.
If the data used to train the AI is skewed in some way, it could lead to unfair outcomes for certain groups of farmers.
You're absolutely right.
Right.
For example, if an AI system is primarily trained on data from large commercial farms, it might not be as effective or appropriate.
For the smallholder farms?
For smallholder farmers, exactly.
Who face very different challenges and operate in different contexts.
Yeah, so we have to make sure these systems are designed with inclusivity in mind.
That makes sense. So inclusivity is key.
It is.
Both in terms of the data used to train these systems and in terms of who has access to them.
Absolutely.
Which brings us back to that digital divide.
Full circle.
We discussed earlier.
Yeah.
Even with the best AI tools, they're useless if farmers can't get online.
Exactly. And that's where investments in infrastructure are so critical.
Like what?
Expanding internet access, improving network coverage, making digital devices more affordable.
Right. So we need to create an enabling environment where everyone can participate in this digital economy.
Yeah, not just a privileged few.
It's about leveling the playing field again.
And leveling the playing fields.
And making sure no one is left behind.
That's right.
In this technological revolution.
And it requires a collaborative effort, I think.
Okay.
Governments, telecom companies, development organizations.
So everyone needs to kind of work together.
Working together, yeah.
To bridge that digital divide.
Exactly the gap, yeah.
While we're talking about bridging divides, I'm curious about how all this new tech interacts with traditional knowledge.
Right.
Farmers have been working the land for generations, passing down this valuable knowledge and these practices.
Right. So how do we make sure AI complements that rather than replacing it?
Exactly.
That's a great question. And I think it speaks to a more holistic approach, We shouldn't see AI as a replacement for traditional knowledge, but as a way to enhance it and amplify it.
Okay.
Imagine combining the precision of data-driven insights with the wisdom of generations of farming experience.
Right.
That's where the real magic happens.
It's like a partnership.
It is.
A fusion of the old and the new.
Yeah, like that.
Working together for a more sustainable and resilient future.
And it requires respect, I think, for both sides.
Okay.
Valuing the expertise of farmers while also embracing the potential of these new technologies.
So as we wrap up this deep dive into AI in African agriculture, what are some of the key takeaways?
All right. Well, I think the biggest one is that this is just an incredibly exciting field.
It is.
With enormous potential for positive impact.
Yeah.
But it's crucial, I think, to approach it with both enthusiasm and caution.
Right.
We need to consider the ethical implications. Yeah.
The potential challenges and the need for inclusivity and responsible development.
Right.
Every step of the way.
And I think it's clear that this isn't just about technology.
Well,
it's about people.
Yeah.
It's about empowering farmers, strengthening communities, and building a more sustainable and equitable future.
Absolutely.
For African agriculture.
It's a journey that requires collaboration, innovation, and a commitment to leaving no one behind.
Well said.
Thanks.
And on that note, we'll leave you to ponder all the possibilities.
Yeah.
Thanks for joining us on this deep dive.
It was a pleasure.